Hey friends, it's me, the Ebony Otaku, the well-rounded nerd. I decided I wanted to get back into doing some anime reviews. I hadn't seen any that really piqued my interest enough to review them. There's a couple I've talked about, but not really gone more in depth on. And Chainsaw Man just seemed perfect. I know I'm late to the game. I work. So if you have a job, you can't always review all the things all the time. So I finally had some moments to myself where I could get into this one, and my God, today. My God, today. Once in a while, I'm going to have to do this on the screen because there's stuff going on that probably guidelines will be like, no, not that. So, but yeah, let's talk about it. Before we get into it, just a reminder, said contest still going on. We are this close to 500 on the YouTubies. Once we get there, I have a nerdy prize to give out, and I've already decided what it is. Tis Star Trek related, if you are into that. I'm going to save the really good Star Trek figure for when I get to 1,000, but I have a good vintage figure in decent condition that I would like to give away for the first YouTube 500. All you have to do is subscribe. No entry necessary. And then, of course, with my other media, we got the Instagram out there, Twitter, Facebook, which it's going the way of Twitter these days. Once one of those gets to 500, representative prizes shall follow. U.S. dress preferred. A dress preferred because, shipping be a thing. A thing. Okay, so before we get into this one, let's be real clear. Not safe for work. Not for children. Barely for adults. I think the last anime I watched that could be along these lines, as far as it being graphic or the subject matter, might have been Doro Hidoro. But where Doro Hidoro kind of goes way off into the gore and the violence and the whatnot, it more than brings it back with the religious allegory. You about need to have gone to seminary somewhere to make Doro Hidoro make sense. And what I like about this one, I'm not all the way through it yet, I've just started it. What I'm liking about this one so far is you don't need to have gone to theological seminary to understand it. While I respect art in all of its forms, I respect artistes and where they get information. If your art is just so creative that nobody can understand it unless they are in your echelon or whatever, what was the point of creating the art? Granted, art can be created for self, but this is mass media, and mass media means for the masses. So if the masses can't connect to your story and characters, that's kind of going to make it limited as to how far that media can go. And I think this succeeds where Doro Hidoro fails. Because Doro Hidoro, once you get to I hate to say it, but the last 4 episodes, if you can make it that far, it's oh, this is a story. This one gets you from the first 10 minutes. And Doro Hidoro, you kind of had to build into whether or not you cared about these characters. There was nothing in the beginning to set you up to say, oh, I care what happens to these characters. It's just lizard people and folks in masks and wizards and humans fighting each other. And it's dirty. It's weird. It seems like everyone's a villain. There's no one to root for. And it's hard to connect with any of the characters until you get much further along in the story and you discover some of the backstories of the characters of Doro Hidoro, and then you go, oh, okay, I understand why this is a thing. And then that last episode is on such a cliffhanger, and we all know it's not going to get a second season, more than likely, because the subject matter, for the most part, and the characters were out of reach of the masses. There is such a thing as being too good, too deep, too thoughtful. I know we all think that every anime can be Evangelion. It can't. It can't. Sometimes you just have to make an entertaining story and leave it at that. So our story today, looking at Chainsaw Man, which take that literally, it's about a man who's a chainsaw, is about our central character here. His name is Denji. And off the bat, we are empathizing with Denji. He is strolling down the road with his little demon dog, Pochita. What a cute name. Pochita's adorable too, even though Pochita's a demon. And Denji lives in an alternate version of the world. Obviously, Tokyo, Japan. That's anime. But he lives in an alternate version of the world where demons are a part of just they exist. Not just in they exist in folklore or in books or stories, movies, but they're out running around eating people. And because there are demons out running around eating people, there are people who hunt said demons. Here are some of them, including our friend Denji. Some of them are working under the table for mobsters and whatnot and getting paid bounties for certain demons, and others are working for the government. Our poor central character, Denji, he's caught in between the world of legitimacy and the world of criminality. There we go, criminality, yes. So, Denji, when he was young, like 10, 11, something like that, his father is disposed of by the mob. And the reason being is he owed the mob a lot of money. And Denji, being his son, is now tasked with, you have to pay us back what your father owes us. But they keep charging him interest. And every time they send him on an errand or a job, like they take out, like, oh, here are the damages. Here's what you owe us because you did this thing, you know? So his debt just keeps compounding. So he's the victim of having to pay a debt he never created. And then also he's a victim of the system. This is an orphan who is being forced into enslavement by nefarious forces. He wants to get out of that. He wants to pay his debts, and he's living in poverty. He is living a life that is just kind of like, oh man, this is sad. I don't know if they're going to allow this. We'll see what happens when I upload it. Typically gore is okay. It's the other stuff that you can't put up. Anyway, is one of the mob bosses that he's kind of indebted to. But Denji doesn't have big dreams because he has such an impoverished, lowly life. To the mob, he is just a dog. He is a tool to be used in order to achieve their means. He's obedient. He does what they say. When they say to do it, he doesn't ask questions. And honestly, he's kind of responsible. Like, when he gets his little bit of money after they take everything they want from him, he counts it out and he's like, well, I got $20 left for the week. I've paid my electric. I've paid my rent on my shack. We can have a piece of toast for dinner. And you know what? He's happy to have that piece of toast. His only companion that he has is a little demon dog. And that's the best I can describe it. It has a little chainsaw sticking out of its face. And he calls it Pochita. Pochita and Denji are homies. There was a time when Denji would have offed a creature like Pochita, but they formed a bond together as outcasts. Isn't it cute? Isn't it Pochita? But they formed a bond together as outcasts of this world, where it's demons versus humans, where it's hunter and hunted, where it is servant and master. You're on either side, and he never got to choose a side. His side was chosen for him. Now, truth is, he is never ever going to be able to pay down the debts that are owed by his father. And whether he means to or not, he keeps accruing debt. So he is just a dog of the mob. And it's really interesting because everyone who encounters him refers to him as a dog who just should do their bidding. But the way he treats little Pochita, I mean, my dog is on the floor asleep next to me right now. I don't treat my dog like a dog. He's my baby. You know, he's my little wushums. Yes, that's what I call him. Come for me. But he's my baby. He's my little friend. I care that he eats. I care that he's healthy and happy and has a good life. And dogs get treated better than this human child in this universe who grows up to be a human young man, but everyone still sees him as a dog, and that is really sad. Well, something really unfortunate happened to poor Denji. He is called upon to take care of a rather significant demon who creates zombies, which I'm all about because I love me a zombie movie. I don't think I've reviewed any zombies on the channel yet, but I do love some zombies, so I was here for that. So I thought it was going to be a zombie anime at first. I was like, ooh, zombies, but it's not. It's just, Akuma, it's just demons. But he encounters this demon that makes other demons and turns human bodies into zombie host, basically. And the way that this larger demon gets zombie host is by turning them, well, not turning them. They want these humans, these mobsters want the power that demons have, supernatural power, and to bend things to their will. So, in exchange for a little of that demon power, they basically give themselves over to said demon. And that's what's happening right now. Is this is kind of a reverse of that. This little bitty demon that was hanging out at the gravesite of Denji's father was dying, and demons live on the blood of humans in this world. And Denji was in a place in his world where he knew his life wasn't going to be anything, and he wanted a friend to go through life with. So he let this little demon dog, Chainsaw Head, have a nibble. And that revived that little demon, but it made Pochita loyal to him. So this is a true friendship that Denji and Pochita have with each other. Hearken to the other kinds of demons out there. When they share their powers with humans, what they're really doing is taking them over. That's gross. What they're really doing is taking them over. They trick these humans into thinking that somehow they'll gain demon-like powers, when really they're becoming host vessels for the demon. The mobsters that Denji works for convince him to go after a really large zombie making demon, which, bad idea. And I guess, spoiler alert, they kill him. The reason the zombie demon is able to kill Denji is, one, Denji is only just a human young man at the beginning of the story, and then also his mob bosses that, well, for lack of a better term, own him, they've given themselves over to this demon as well. And this demon has them, get rid of this young man who is in the business of killing demons. It's all real complicated how these relationships work, but the head zombie demon makes humans into zombies to serve him, and sends those humans to kill other humans in exchange for a little bit of his demon power. But this innocent human boy who was paid by the mobsters who he turned into zombies to go kill him. Okay, I'm done trying to explain that. It's all very ridiculous. But here's where I love this story. So, as we get to know Denji, we find out that he's a rather pitiful young man, but also incredibly lovable. He's super precious. His big dream in life is to eat every day. Can I just eat every day? Can I have food every single day? His other big dream is to maybe one day have a girlfriend. If he can make it to a point where he can eat every day, maybe he can make it to a point of having a girlfriend. And maybe, just maybe, he will get to cop a field one day, if you know what I mean. Now, look, I'll be honest. Shows like this always have an element of fan service in them, which I don't typically mind if it's in service of the story. And in this case, it is. Because Denji has never experienced love. He's never experienced affection. He's never experienced a full belly in his life. These are things that, when we're able to easily access them, say that correctly, we forget how precious things like human touch and connection really are. It matters for us to be able to connect with people on a spiritual, emotional, and yes, even a physical level. Now, it's played up for laughs in this story, 100%. I mean, but the truth is, let's be real here for a second. It is not wrong for him to desire a pair of dedicated memories to his cause. That's kind of what relationships are, is two people who have decided they are giving all of themselves to one another. And that's not something he ever dreamed could be possible in his life. Because he has never gone to school, he hasn't experienced human affection, he hasn't grown up in a family scenario. His expression of what he wants in affection and love is very primal, and it's honestly very childish, but it's also very pure. He just wants to love and experience something he's never been able to experience before. And honestly, he's a faithful little horn dog. Like, he just wants one. He's not after all the girls. He just wants one for himself. I can't believe I'm saying this. This is gonna sound crazy. So I can't fault poor little Dingy. He just wants his girl. He doesn't want all the girls. He wants his girl. And that's okay. So as you can see here, he's being attacked by said zombies, and yeah, they kill him. He's not going to win against all of those zombies. Him and Pochita, with his little little chainsaw nose, they lose. They lose to this demon that has control of all of these human hosts. But then something amazing happens. Pochita, who again can be revived with human blood. And he's attacked in pretty rough shape too. He is able to consume some of the blood from Dingy's cut up, zombified, put in several places body. And I don't know if this is a dream. I don't know if it really happens. I don't know if it's in the subconscious. But Pochita and Dingy have a little conversation. There he good and dead. Have a little conversation where Pochita says, "You know what, Dingy? I want you to achieve your dream. I want you to eat good food every day. I want you to eat toast with jam on it. I want to see you happy. I want to see you meet that girl that you're going to love, and she'll let you cop a feel once in a while. I want that for you, Dingy." Pochita remembers how he and Dingy had a good life together, how this human and this demon, who should never have been friends by the rules of this world, had a great friendship, and Dingy took really good care of him and treated him as an equal, not as a dog, not as a demon. Everyone in Dingy's life treats him as a tool. And instead of lashing out and doing that to Pochita, he treats Pochita as an equal, because that's his only friend he's ever had in life. It's actually quite beautiful and sad. So what Pochita does is he does something that's very rare, but apparently some demons have the ability to do, which is merge with a human host. And Pochita literally becomes a part of Dingy's heart. He revives himself with Dingy blood, and he works his little way in there. And what that does is merge the two as one. And it's explained by several different characters what's happened to Pochita. Some say that Pochita is gone and it's only Dingy, the demon human hybrid now. He's getting put back together by Pochita right now. Some say that Pochita, because he is Dingy's heart now, literally his heart, that he's always there and they are living the dream together. And then some say that Pochita is just a distant memory. I haven't gone far enough into the series to know which of those it is. I choose to believe that Lil Pochi is still a part of Dingy and alive. And after he brings Dingy's physical body back together and merges with him, Pochita transfers his chainsaw powers over to Dingy. And this little kind of ripcord appears on his chest, and he can pull this ripcord, and then we get the title of our show, which is Chainsaw Man. When he pulls the ripcord out of his hands and his head, pop 3 chainsaws. There's the ripcord I was talking about. 3 chainsaws pop out, and he is able to hack, slash, mutilate, chop, whatever you want to say, through anything. And because he's also merged with a demon, he gets superhuman abilities as well. So now he has more stamina. He's stronger. He's faster. His reaction time, his reflexes are so much better. And he is able to dispatch with the zombie horde pretty easily. And not just dispatch with the zombie horde, he's also able to take out old head zombie back there as well. And that introduces a new dynamic into the show. Now Denji has become something that hasn't been seen before, a human demon hybrid. Which is he? Do you treat him like a demon? Do you treat him like a human? Which one is he? Because demons are, they kind of stick together, not really, but a little. They claim they're better than human. You'll see that later on. Oh, we're better than humans. Humans are so disgusting, blah blah blah. But they like betray each other every other day, just like people do. So I don't know why they think they're better than people, but it's always that way with the supernatural beings in these shows. They think they're better than the people. But Denji's not human or demon anymore, and the humans who later encounter Denji and want to use him to slay demons, they go back to treating him like a dog. As long as he kills demons, there he is, he's all chainsawed up now. As long as he kills demons and does what they say, he'll eat every day. And in Denji's head, now he's hanging out with people. Maybe he'll get a chance to meet that girl that he wants to meet one day. Because he's a simple man with simple wants in life. He wants him a girl. He wants a full belly every day. I'm not faulting him for that. But then the challenge of the rest of the show becomes, how does the world treat him? Is he a demon? Is he a human? Is he both? Is he a whole new category? Even though he ends up working for humans, which is the premise for the first arc of the show, in hunting down and destroying demons, the humans don't trust him. And even though he is part demon now, the demons can't have kinship with him because he is employed to kill their kind. But Denji is such a good, pure soul. Yes, even through all this, he's a good, pure soul. He's only doing what he has to do. He never asked for any of this. He shouldn't even be involved in this world. He is the victim of someone else's choices, yet still chooses to have a bright outlook and be thankful for what he has. And I think that's why I like this character so much. Like, he's like 19, 20 or something, living in a whole shack, eating toast, has a demon pet that, sips his blood once in a while, and he calls himself happy. And then he looks at all these mob bosses and politicians and rich people, and he wonders why they can never be happy. Don't they eat every day and they have wives. Why aren't they happy? They have families. They have, he's not even looking at the material stuff. He's just like, they eat and have families. They should be happy. Why aren't they happy? I respect that, because even when he steps, I guess, into what you call the human world, he isn't treated like other humans. Yet he still chooses to find happiness in things like, I got a bath today. He finds happiness in things like, I get to eat a bowl of noodles today. He finds happiness in, oh my goodness, I hugged a girl for the first time. Those are all really small things to people who've always been experiencing life normal, but he's never had a normal life. So after he dispatches with this demon boss, he encounters the next courier of his fate, and that is Makima. And Makima works for the government, and she's basically a professional demon slayer along with her team. And she was dispatched to get rid of this zombie demon. And they show up, and Denji's already done it. And unbeknownst to him, she is in charge of putting together a team of misfits who might be better at fighting demons than their human counterparts, their pure human counterparts, ever could be. And this is the first female that Denji ever encounters closely. And he instantly falls in what he thinks is love. It's schoolboy crush. It's kind of adorable. But from this point on, Denji becomes an even more sympathetic character, because everyone around him that he's introduced to either looks down on him, wants to use him, or wants to kick him to the curb as a useless dog. There's no in between. Yet, he still keeps his indomitable spirit, He still only wants to eat every day and hug a girl. He's happy that he can get a bath. I'm really excited to see how the rest of this story plays out, and I hope you are too. So I hope I've piqued your interest into watching Chainsaw Man. I can't wait to watch the rest of it. Don't spoil it for me down in the comments, okay? I'm on episode 4, and so I've got, what, in the season, like 9 more left? I can finish that this week. Don't spoil my show. Okay? All right, so I hope you enjoyed that. I like this character. I'm into it. It's campy, it's fun, it's weird, it's gory. I wouldn't call it scary though, because when things are drawn, just the old suspension of disbelief. Like I love the Junji Ito works, and I watched the 2 anime that were done on Junji Ito, and what was the other one? I can't remember it. There's another famous manga horror artist that's really amazing, and they did his works as an anime as well. But it's animated. There's only so much fear that can happen. In this case, they just made a really good show, and I'm here for it. So I hope you give it a watch. I'm going to finish watching it, and then we will talk about it some more once we get to the end. So I will see you in the next one.